In this video, we will try to understand three important concepts from object programming aspect: association, aggregation, and composition. The most exciting feature of object programming is that it mimics real world objects. In other words, it tries to, your code actually replicates real world objects like customer, supplier, etc., etc. Now, when we talk about real world objects, the most complicated thing in real world is relationships. For instance, let's take this simple real world requirement which you see on your screen. This requirement is actually just having 5 sentences in it. The first sentence which says that a manager is a type of employee. Manager has a swipe card by which he enters the company premises. He has many workers under him. His salary depends on project success, and the project success depends on a manager, right? On a good manager. So you can see that we have 5-point requirement here. Now in this 5-point requirement, you can easily observe a lot of relationship. For example, let's start one by one. Let's start with line 1 here. Let me just number them. So this is requirement number 1, this is requirement number 2, this is 3, 4, and 5. The first requirement says that a manager is a type of employee. Now let me just go and put a small bracket over this 2-letter word here, which is very important to depict relationships. Now when we say a manager is a type of employee, what it means is that it forms a parent-child relationship. In other words, what we are saying is that we are going to have a top employee class, and that employee class will be inherited to create a manager class. In other words, the employee is the parent, right? So employee is a parent of manager. So the first kind of relationship which you can easily see from the first statement is that basically it's a parent-child relationship. It's inheritance relationship. Let me just put down here inheritance. Okay. So whenever you find this is a word, what it means is that basically there is you need to actually go and probe ahead to see that in case if there is any kind of inheritance or a parent-child relationship. So whenever you find a word is a, for example, Shiv is a son of his father, or like example over here you can see a manager is a type of employee. So employee becomes a parent and the manager becomes a child. Now let's look at the second requirement. Manager has a swipe card to enter the company premises. Now let me just go and put a bracket here saying this bracket here around the word has a. Again, now this has a word actually shows a different kind of relationship. Now what you can see from here is that the manager uses a swipe card to enter the company premises. What it also means is that that swipe card can exist without the manager, and the manager can happily exist without the swipe card. In other words, I can take that swipe card and give it to some other employee if I wish tomorrow, and probably the manager can take a new swipe card, right? So the swipe card and manager they are not really dependent on each other. They can work in isolations, but definitely they come together for solving some problem or for serving some purpose. Okay, so this kind of relationship which actually which you can easily see from this word has a is called as the association relationship. The association relationship basically what it says is that both these real world objects can stay without each other. They have their own lifetime. In other words, must be the swipe card can tomorrow be broken, right? But the manager will live, right? It doesn't mean that the swipe card is broken, so the manager also dies, right? And also the second thing, like the manager can resign from the company and go away, and that swipe card still live happily. It can still be assigned to some other employee. So in other words, the swipe card and the manager, both of them actually can stay without each other. So this kind of relationship is called as the association relationship. Now let's look at the third requirement. Manager has many workers working under him. Okay. Now here you can see that the manager is like a owner. Okay. Again, with full respect to all workers here, when I say owner means he is responsible to ensure that the tasks are properly assigned to workers, etc. So the workers actually report to the manager. Now these workers, they will not go and report to accountants, or they will not go and report to some other entity in the company, but they will only go and report to managers. In other words, the manager is the owner of these workers, and the workers cannot belong to some other entity in the company. This kind of relationship is called as the aggregation relationship. So in aggregation relationship, the child objects, or I'll say there is a single owner of the child object. These child objects cannot belong to any other owner. So that is called as an aggregation relationship. And one more point here is that these child objects, which are inside the owner, can exist independently. In other words, the worker object can exist independently. The worker can move happily in the company, probably he can go for a tea, etc., etc. But, the worker, when it comes, from the job perspective, he has to work inside the manager. Okay. So this kind of relationship is called as the aggregation relationship, where we have only one owner for the objects, but the objects can stay happily, without the owner. Now let's take the fourth and the fifth requirement. We'll take both this requirement in one go, because both these requirements actually depict only one relationship. Okay. The requirement 4 says that manager's salary depends on project success, and the requirement 5 says that project success depends on how good the manager works, right, or how good the manager manages the project, right? So what it means here is that the project will be successful if the manager works properly, and the manager's salary will be incremented if the project is successful. In other words, the project and manager are dependent on each other. They cannot stay without each other. Okay. In other words, the lifetime of the project as well as the manager is same. In other words, if the project is running well, the manager is doing well. Okay. His salary is okay. But the time the project goes under issues, right, the manager will have his own issues of salaries. And in the same way, the project will be doing well, if the manager does well. So both these objects are actually dependent on each other. So this kind of relationship is called as the composition relationship. You can see that word composition. So you can say that the manager needs a project and the project needs a manager. Both are composed of each other. Okay. So in composition relationship, the lifetime of both the objects are same. In other words, if the project goes off, the manager will have problem. If the manager goes off, then the project will not be successful. So summarizing, we have 4 kind of relationships. Inheritance, which is nothing but the parent-child relationship. Association, where both the objects use each other, but they can have their own lifetime. Aggregation, where there is a single owner of the object. And finally composition, where each object depends on each other. If one goes off, then the other will also go off. So the lifetime of the objects are same. Now that we have understood these 4 important relationships, how about going and writing some C# code to see that how they actually come up. Now we will not be writing the code for inheritance, because we have already discussed this principle in the first video, or I'll say in one of those videos in the OOPS question and answer video series, right? So I'll just concentrate on association, aggregation and composition in this video. Okay, so let me just go and start my Visual Studio, and let's first start with association. So here's my Visual Studio. So let me go and create a new project. So what I'll do is I'll just go and create a very nice class library called as companies. Okay, so company has employees, it has projects. So let me just go and create a nice class library here called as, I'll say organization, more professional name. So what I'll do is the first class I will create is the manager class. So I'm going to say here a manager class. Okay, and the next class which I'll create is the swipe card. Okay, so the swipe card is a class which actually does all the functionalities for a swipe card. Now this swipe card class has a method called a swipe, and the swipe method actually goes and takes in a manager, right? And it goes and swipes the manager, right? And in the same way, the manager, whenever he comes in the morning to log on, he needs a swipe card, right? So with this, he actually goes and basically goes and swipes himself, must be, okay, right? Right, so in other words, they both use each other, right? Also, the manager can have other functions, like for example, get the manager name. So you can just say here public string get manager name. Okay, so this will return the manager name. In the same way, I can have some other functions in swipe card saying get the make of the swipe card. Means which company does the swipe card belong to. Okay, make of swipe card. Okay, so he also returns something over here, must be just say return. At this moment I'll just put something here, C001, some kind of make, and this gives me the manager name, so I'll just say chef for now. Okay, so you can see over here that basically there's a manager class, there's a swipe card class. The swipe card class actually uses the manager, as well as the manager class uses the swipe card to swipe. So here there is no single owner as such, both use each other. Now let's go and add a very simple console application here, and I want to show you some important things here regarding this relationship. So let me just say console organization. Okay, now here's my console application, so let me just go and reference the organization library which I've just created. So I'm going to go and add a reference of the organization library here. I'm going to say using organization. Okay, now this is a very important step for association. If you see here, I can go and create the object of manager, right, and I can go and create the object of swipe card. Now you can see that both these objects, as I said, the first noticeable thing is that there is no single owner of these objects. Okay, both use each other. In other words, if I say obj manager dot log on, then definitely I need a swipe card object here. And in the same way, if I say obj swipe dot swipe, I need the manager. But they still can exist separately, independent of each other. And none of them are owner of each other. In other words, they are separate entities altogether, and they both have their own lifetime. So you can see that if I go and build this project, both these objects, can stay without each other. So if I build it, there are no compilation errors here, you can see, and everything works fine. Okay, so here, basically I can go and use this manager object and say obj manager, get me the manager name. So this get manager name, it will return me the name of the manager. And in the same way, I can go and get the make of the swipe card, without even worrying about the manager, right? So I can get the make of the swipe card. So in other words, both these objects can stay without each other. Definitely they come together, when they want to go and swipe. That's it. But for all other operations, they do not need each other. So this kind of relationship is called as the association relationship, where there is, it has two characteristics. One is there is no what you call as the parent object, or there is no owner. They basically can use each other, but none of them are owners actually. And second, the lifetime of both the objects are different. So the swipe card can stay without the manager, and the manager can stay without the swipe card. Now let's again go back to our requirement. Let's always have the requirement before us. So this requirement, the aggregation requirement, let's talk about it now. We said that manager has many workers under him, right? So let's again go to our organization library here, and let's go ahead and create a worker class. So I'm going to say here public class worker, and I have only one property for now, which will actually give out the worker name. Okay, so I'm going to say worker name, very simple class, and the class actually gives out the worker name, right? Build the solution just to ensure everything is fine. Now what we said is that the manager is the owner of the worker. In other words, the workers actually only belong to managers. So in other words, basically what it means is that the manager will have list of workers, right? So this actually depicts an aggregation relationship. You can see over here now the workers actually belong to managers. So in other words, the manager is the owner of these workers. But said and done that, still the workers can be created separately. I mean, I can always go and create the object of worker without working, without thinking that I need a manager, right? Means I can always go and use a worker if I wish independently, probably to just get the worker name. So this I can always do. Okay, So I can just always go and execute to get the worker name. But whenever we say that okay, this worker will belong to who is the owner of this worker, then definitely it is the manager, right? So in this relationship, basically you have one and only one owner. You can see over here, like for example, the manager is the only one owner of the worker. In other words, I cannot imagine probably that the Stripe card is the owner of workers. That is not possible. So this worker can only belong to the manager. Okay. So this kind of relationship is called as the aggregation relationship. Now coming to the final one, the composition relationship. Now this relationship will take out a bit of a juice from us. So we need to do a bit of a coding here. So what this relationship says here, we say that the salary of the manager depends on the project success, and the project success actually depends on how good the manager is, right? So I'm going to go and first create a class called as project. Okay, public class called as project, and I will have here a property called as I'll just say a private property here. I'll say public property for now. Public boolean is success. Okay, this just depicts if the project is successful or not. Okay, right. And also I will go and create one more property here called as the salary property. Okay, see, currently I'm not creating encapsulated properties with set and get. So at this moment, must be many people will be thinking that, oh, does it mean that I can set the success from outside? No, you cannot. But currently, for simplicity, I've just made it a public variable. But as a good practice, you would like to have this encapsulated, rather than open and naked like this. Okay, so just for simplicity, I'm creating the properties as straightforward naked public properties. Okay, so the manager will have a property called as salary. Okay, now if the project is successful, then the manager's salary can be incremented. Okay, and if the manager is working properly, then the project will be successful. Okay, so if I say here, let's say I'll say public void, let's say public void how is the manager, let's say how is the manager. Okay, so I'll just say boolean good bad I'll say good or bad, whatever it is. Okay, right. So if the manager is good, I'll say if good. Okay, then I'll say, now as I said that the project this project actually will be needed inside this manager object here, right? So I'm going to say here public project or project. Okay, so I'll say if the manager is good, then this project is going to be successful. Its success is going to be true, or else it's going to be false, right? Very simply, its success is going to be false. Great. So you can see now, if the manager is good, right, this project is successful, or the project is unsuccessful, right? Now in the same way, what it also means is that if the project is going to be successful, okay, over here, that means that his salary will be good. Okay, the manager's salary would increment. Okay, so what it also means is that I need to have in this project a manager class. Okay, so here's a constructor. I've created a constructor. I'm saying that inside the constructor I'm going and passing the manager class here. Okay, so I'm going to have a proper manager class set here so that I can use it wherever I wish. So in other words, whenever the project object is created, he has to pass in the manager object, so that he can set his salary properly. Okay, so I'm going to say here O manager is equal to obj. Okay, second, I will also go and make this as encapsulated. I'll tell you why. So I'm going to go and encapsulate this field here. I'll make this as small. Success. Okay, so here what I'll say is that, okay, if this is going to be successful, okay, if the success is true, if somebody sets the success is true, right, if this value is true, then what I'll say is that please go and set the salary of the manager, go and increment the salary of the manager, or else go and decrement the salary of the manager. Okay, so his salary will be decremented, must be. Right, so now you can see over here, when I create this project class, now I need to give him the manager class. Why? Because now the manager status is dependent on how well the project is doing, right? So in other words, what it means is, I have to say a new project, this. Okay. Yeah, I need to actually go and set this inside the constructor. So we'll say public class manager. Right. Now look, things are becoming complicated here. What has happened is, if this manager is good, he will say the project is successful. If the project is successful, if I go down below here, then I will go and increment the manager's salary. Okay, and if the project is unsuccessful, then I'm going to go and decrement the manager's salary. So what has happened now is, now if I try to go and create the object of the manager class, okay, and you can see over here, like for example, the first thing is, if I go and try to create the object of the project class, first thing, okay, you can see it needs a manager class. Okay, in the same way, when I talk about manager, right, when I say this manager is going to be, how is the manager? If I say it is good, right, it needs the project class. Without that also it cannot, it will not help out, right? So here you can see, basically, how both these components, the manager as well as, or the manager as well as, the project depends on each other, right? So if the manager is good, then the project is successful, and he will increment the salary. So this is called as the composition relationship, where you can see, like, the manager cannot really go and basically work without the project class, and in the same way you cannot create the object as a project class without the manager class. Okay, so this kind of relationship is called as a composition relationship. So we have three kinds of relationship: association relationship, where basically both the object lifetime are different, there is no single owner. Aggregation relationship, where we have a single owner, but the child object can still have a different lifetime, they can still exist independently. And then we have the composition relationship, and some people also call this relationship as the death relationship, where basically both the components are dependent on each other. If one component dies off, the other component also goes off. For example, here, if the manager goes off, then inside the manager this project will also go off, that will also not exist. And in the same way, I cannot create the object of the project class, without the manager, right? So I hope that you enjoyed this video. In this video we saw three important concepts, association, aggregation, and composition. Thank you very much.